Hi YouTube, it's Shanelli here. I'm so excited to have you guys with me tonight for my YouTube live. I know that some of you guys are probably wondering, what in the world did she do to her hair? I chopped my hair off, you guys. I really did. I went super short. And I just figured, you know what? New year, new me. And the ends of my hair, honestly, were really in bad condition. So it was about time that I got a haircut. So here you go. It's my official, technically my official review, because I really haven't posted any pictures on Instagram or Facebook or anywhere. So yeah, you guys get to be the first one to see my cut since you joined me for tonight. I hope that everybody can hear me and see me. I know there's 15 people in here, 14 people, or 15 again. So thanks for joining. I really wanted to check in with everybody again and see how you're doing. I know that there were a lot of questions last time that I really did not get to, just because of the fact that there wasn't enough time, and I talk a lot and there were a lot of questions, and yeah, so I wanted to do another one and give people the opportunity to come back and chat with me again and ask me some of those questions that didn't get answered last time, so that I can give those questions a shot. So thank you, Huang. I see you. I see the love and support. So yeah, I'm gonna be checking those messages and these chats that are coming in so that I can answer your questions. Hello, who's that? Bunmi, I see you. Thank you for coming on. Hey, Victoria, I see you, girl. So yeah, just really excited to be able to answer any questions or chat with you guys about any topics that you're wondering about that maybe I left off last time not answering. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with one that I know. Oh, thank you. Everybody's like, nice haircut. I already feel so good. Thank you. But I'm gonna start off with one from last time that was asked a lot of times and I did not answer it. So I really wanna make sure that whoever asked it gets that question answered. So that question was, what is Forex trading? And I am not a fan of Forex trading. I'm gonna say it right now. I don't technically believe, and a lot of research out there actually, backs this up. I really don't believe Forex trading is a type of investing. It's not really smart. Essentially what it is you go to the stock market and you look at certain stocks and how they're doing, and you just make a guess. Like you randomly say, okay, in the next 10 minutes or in the next 8 minutes or even like the next 5 minutes, I guess I'm gonna bet that the stock is gonna go up. And if you're right, then you win money. And if you say, I think the stock is gonna go down, if you're right, you win money. So it's not necessarily investing, it's more like betting. So if you're like a gambler and you're a bettor and you wanna like play around with the stock market in that way, I mean, I don't recommend it, but sure, go ahead. That's maybe something that suits you, but to me, it doesn't seem like it makes a lot of sense. So yeah, Forex trading, that's what it is. I don't recommend it. And that was from last time because I know I didn't get to it. But I'm gonna go ahead and pop into the chat. Love your videos, thank you. Who's that? Fernando Valadez, thank you. I really appreciate that. Do you recommend paying off debt before starting to save money? That's from Megan Emily 20. Megan, I definitely do think that you should have a plan that tackles both. I think you should be putting at least 5% of every check into a savings account. If you still have debt, put more of the amount of money that you're trying to put aside, not for bills and not for things that you need every day, like food and stuff like that. Put more of your like whatever income you had that you're not using to your bills, put that towards your debt, most of it. But at least take 5% of each check and put it in a savings account, because you don't want to be in a situation where you didn't save anything and you paid off all your debt, but an emergency comes and you don't have any money. So now what you're gonna have to end up doing is swiping your credit card or borrowing money in order to go through the emergency situation, and you're gonna put yourself right back in debt again. So you don't want to do that. You want to have a little something saved on the side for when rough times come. That's why it's called a rainy day fund. So Megan Emily, that was a good question. Hi James, hi Don, love the short hair, thank you, that's so sweet. Hello everybody. Okay, so I have Victoria here. You left your job and moved across the country. Woo, without a job, girl, you brave. Still haven't found one. Oh no, so it's coming to a tail end of your savings and you want to start working again. What would you recommend? So I would recommend literally starting to do anything that you're really skilled at that brings you a decent amount of money. For me, that would be like tutoring, because I have an education background and I have a really good degree. I could start tutoring and charge like $100 an hour and do really high quality one-on-one lessons for students who like struggle with reading or with math, right? For you, I'm sure it's something else that you have a skill that you can bring to the table that can bring you a high amount of money that doesn't take a lot of your time, but also allows you to kind of quickly make money. I think that should definitely be your go-to. And it's rough when you're kind of hitting the tail end of your savings, it might be time for you to take a part-time job somewhere. You know, it's not necessarily the career or the dream that you had or whatever, but it could hold you down until you get your next steady full-time thing. So maybe thinking about a part-time gig that might, you know, make sense, a restaurant, or you know, tutoring, or there's a lot of different companies that are constantly hiring part-time employees. So think about that, because that can hold you down for a little while, even if it's not necessarily the long-term goal that you might have set for yourself for your career, you know, for the time being. All right, let's see who's next. Oh, I got a lot of messages. Bunmi says, my question is about credit scores. Someone opens an account with my details. Ooh, credit fraud. And spent about $450. I challenged it and I was told I'm not liable, but it's still on my credit. What can I do? Okay, so the good thing is that you're not liable. So that means that you're not going to be responsible for any of that behavior, and it's not going to affect you in the long run. But in the short term, it's going to be on your credit report until you know, handle that. So what I would do is I would find out which specific credit bureau is still showing that information. So there's 3 credit bureaus, right? Equifax, TransUnion. You want to look, go to each of them and say, okay, let me look at my credit report from each one of them, and whatever record credit report still shows that record of the fraud, you need to call them up directly. So just go on Google and Google customer service number for Equifax, or customer service number for TransUnion, and then you can call them and say, hey, for some reason, even though I was told I'm not liable, this account information is still showing up on my report. Can you please get it removed for me? And then they have to remove it. If everything is legit and it wasn't you, and you know, the banks or whoever cross-checked and it wasn't you, and you have the proof that they need, then you should be good. In like 90 days, they should be removing it. So yeah, just gotta make sure you stay on top of it. Make those phone calls, and it might be annoying because they might take a while, like, you know, to handle it. But if you call and you make sure you're on it, they will handle it for you. Thank you for your content. You are very welcome. Thank you for watching and supporting and for joining me tonight. Who's that? Honest Finance. Is YouTube worth the hard work? Woo! Okay, so that's a loaded question, because it depends on what you consider hard work, right? Like for me, I think YouTube is definitely work. It's not necessarily super hard. I think anybody and everybody should be empowered to start their own YouTube channel. To be completely honest with you, I really wish right now that I could flip my, like I have my phone recording me right now, but I wish I could flip it so you guys could see my bootleg setup that I have. Like, I put very little money into starting YouTube, because at the end of the day, I mean, I'm not trying to like blow up on YouTube and make a lot of money. I just really wanted to help people, and talking to people and connecting with people is really something that I enjoy. So I started with my iPhone camera. I started with, like, you know, in my apartment, and I started with literally like I didn't even have a tripod at first. I was using rubber bands to put my phone up against my laptop. Talk about ghetto. But you know, eventually as the channel started to pick up, that's when I decided, oh, maybe it's time for me to invest in a little tripod. Actually, the first tripod that I had, sorry guys, I'm gonna grab it because I really want to show you that I wasn't doing the most, okay? This is the first tripod that I had. This is a little tiny bootleg tripod that you could get on Amazon, okay? And I had this tripod, and I would just put the phone like right in here, and I would put it on top of the window or like by a desk or something, and then I would just record myself, right? And it holds it still for you, and it allows you to, you know, do the job, and it's not expensive. So definitely, if you're considering doing it, I would start low budget, and it doesn't take a lot of money, and it doesn't take a ton of time, but what it does take is dedication, because you have to be consistent. The second that you stop posting videos, people who are following you and who really like what you're doing, they're gonna be like confused. Like, why are you not coming on YouTube anymore? Why are you not emailing me back? Why are you not, you know, commenting and engaging with the comments? So you have to really be on it, and you have to be dedicated. So in some way, I think it is a little bit of hard work, but if you enjoy it, then it's definitely gonna be worth it for you. And I think it just, what matters is your passion for it. If you're really not excited about it, if you kind of feel like, oh, I don't wanna go on here and talk to these people, I don't want to answer comments, I don't want to engage with the community today, I don't feel like it, then it's not going to be worth it for you, right? You have to make sure it's something that you really enjoy and that you're passionate about. And that's why I think you have to pick a topic that you really love. Like for me, I love making sure that I'm teaching things in a fun way, and I love talking about money and saving. So it kind of worked out for me to start the YouTube channel. And actually this year, it's going to be it's like already probably 2.5 years that I started my channel. And when I first started, it had like 100 subscribers, and I was so excited. And you know, I'm almost hitting 20,000. So you really have to stick with it. 2 years later, I'm starting to see a little bit of growth, and it's starting to pick up. But really for me, what matters is that it shows that a lot of people out there really care about this content. They really want to know about personal finance. And I'm slowly proving that there is a real crowd of people that need this and want this information. You know, finance can be cool. Personal finance can be cool. Credit can be cool. All this stuff could be cool. You just have to make it cool. You got to make it in a way that people actually get it and want to interact with it. So if you're really passionate about what you're doing on YouTube, then I think yes, it's definitely worth it. But I definitely don't recommend that you go and spend thousands of dollars on some high, quality camera and some fancy equipment. Like, it ain't that serious. Start with a very small, low budget channel, and if it starts to grow and pick up, you can invest some of the profit that you're making back into your channel. Cool. So honest finance, that was a really good question. I've got Bunny Salami. My question is about credit scores. Oh, I already answered that one. Okay. Debt management 101. I'm trying to pay off my debt. Can you consider a line of credit as an emergency fund? I wouldn't say you should use it as an emergency fund, because what happens is when you use a line of credit, it's kind of like a credit card in the sense that a line of credit is revolving. So as soon as you take a bit of money and you use it, when you pay it back, all of it is available to you again, right? It's not like installment credit where you take out a loan, it's a set amount of money, and then you pay it back and you owe zero. That's not how line of credit works. It works just like a credit card, which means that the more you start to use it and you get comfortable like pulling from it, the more kind of tempted you're gonna be to say, oh, I know it's there. That's kind of my fallback. Like if worst comes to worst, I could just use this. It's just like a credit card in that way. So I definitely don't recommend you consider it your emergency savings. I would say, if you're trying to pay off debt, then you should consider the percentage rate, your APR, right? How much interest are you paying on that debt? If you're paying, really high interest, and your line of credit is a super low interest, maybe you got a great deal, that's the only way that I would say it might be worth it, because then you could come up with a plan to pay back the line of credit instead of paying that high interest debt. So it kind of comes down to the numbers, it comes down to the math, it comes out to be how much are you saving and how much time are you gonna aggressively be able to pay back whichever debt you end up paying. But obviously at the end of the day, you always want to pay the least amount of interest. So if the line of credit is the way to go for you, then go ahead, but just make sure you do that math. Don't just pick it because it's convenient. Pick it because it mathematically makes sense, or makes sense mathematically. My grammar. Okay. Andy the Virgo. Hey, MissBeHelpful. I'm a Virgo too, Andy. Whoop whoop. Thanks for doing these live shows. You are very welcome. I love these. I really enjoy them. I appreciate them. I would love to ask your opinion on investing in stock with Comcast. I have an opportunity to buy stock for half the price. I am not informed on Comcast. I would not be able to give you any kind of recommendation or suggestion about it. I know it's a local cable company that is, it's a local cable company. There you go. That's all I know it is. But I don't necessarily know a lot about the opportunity to invest specifically through Comcast. What I would recommend that you do is stay away from any one company that has stock that they're trying to sell you. So I don't know what Comcast is offering you, but if you go to Comcast and you say, oh, I'm considering this, and they try to sell you something specific to investing in their stock, that sounds a little bit like a conflict of interest to me. Like they're trying to get you in the stock market, but they want you to put money in their stock. In that case, I would walk away. If you see that there's some sort of fund or there's some sort of option for picking a lot of different stocks at the same time, those are usually the investments that make the most sense. Obviously, you guys know my video that I posted about investing in the stock market, making sure that you're diversified, means that you don't put all your eggs in one basket. You don't put all your money in a Comcast stock. So I really hope that's not what they're offering, but definitely just do your research. I'll look into it a little bit myself, and maybe I'll talk about it in a future video, but I don't know too much about it. But that is what I will say. If it allows you to diversify, then it'll be a good option. If not, then stay away from it. How much? Oh man, it is dragging me all the way to the bottom again. I want to go to the top because I want me to respond to the comments that came in first, because I want to be fair. So let's see. My due date is the 28th and my cycle closes on the 3rd and starts again on the 4th. So your cycle's from the 4th to the 28th, from the 4th to the 28th. I've already paid the bill for January, but if I have a balance left over now, will that be reported even though, even on the bills? So what I would say is, if it's right now it's January 31st, oh Lord, it's February 1st, my Lord, where am I? My brain is still in January. Due date is the 28th, but cycle closes on the 3rd and starts again on the 4th. What you did not tell me was the statement closing date. You just told me the cycle starts on the 3rd. Sorry, closes on the 3rd. Oh yeah, you told me it closes on the 3rd. So what I would say is, think about it. Today is February 1st. If your bill was due on the 28th, you're already in the next cycle, where the next bill that comes is going to be due the next month on the 28th. So right now, if there was an amount left that wasn't paid on the 28th from the last bill, it's already late. Like you could pay it now to minimize the amount of interest that you're going to be paying on it, but it's already late. So it's not like you can undo that lateness fee that you're going to end up getting charged. but and the interest that you're gonna get charged for carrying it over. But it's always better to pay it early, like the earliest possible. So for example, let's say you realize it's late, is one day late. Call them and say, I'm so sorry, I've never been late before, I just realized it was one day late. And usually they will excuse you. They will excuse you even up to like 10 days or 15 days. But after that, that's it, right? It's pretty much late. But always try and call and ask them to see if they will forgive you for being late, and see if they'll hook you up and ignore it this one time or whatever. And then moving forward, set up automatic payments so that you don't have to deal with this. And if you have an amount left over, that means you paid some of it and left a little bit. Pay that little bit as fast as you can, ASAP, right? Just the faster you pay it, the lowest amount of interest will end up being charged on that remaining balance. So you just want to get it out of the way as fast as you can. All right, so Victoria says she's starting over her life. That's okay, girl. Everybody has a rebirth at some point. So I trust that you're making smart decisions for yourself. And obviously you're on here tonight to learn. So just keep doing that, and I think you will be totally fine. Natalie Rosales, how do you increase your credit score? Girl, utilization. Actually, I just got an email from somebody saying, it's crazy because I emailed you in November, and then I listened to what you said about utilization, and then in January, she emailed me again, literally like a few weeks ago, saying, I just checked my credit and it went up 112 points. 112 points. So if you have a balance that you owe on any card right now, your number one priority should be to pay that down to zero, or as close to zero as you can afford. Because at the end of the day, your utilization rate is only going to continue to grow every time you swipe your card and spend it on something else, but you still owe a balance. So until you pay that, bring it all the way down, your credit score is not going to go anywhere. And honestly, people will be surprised at how much their credit score grows and increases just because they pay down what they owe. Utilization is worth 30% of your score. And I put that as my main video on my page because so many people don't know that. So many people know that your credit score is about, good payments, good behavior, not paying up late. But utilization is such a big part of it, all right? So if you have any money that you owe, Natalie, you need to pay it down as soon as possible. And then that way you'll see how fast your score will grow. Cool. Honest Finance, thank you for content. Already talked about that one. Let's see. How much you should keep in your savings account. Oh, actually I have a video about this. I say the best case scenario is 1 month's pay should be in your checkings account at all time. In your savings account, you should have minimum 3 months, the best case scenario will be 6 to 12 months, or maybe even 2 years or 24 months of expenses just sitting in your savings account. For me, I think that makes a huge deal because you never know what can happen. You guys know on my channel, I posted a video that my old apartment had a fire, and if I didn't have money in my savings account, I would have been struggling. It would have been real rough for me to figure out what to do. But thank goodness, I have always been a saver. Well, not always been a saver. That is a blatant lie. I have, in the recent years of my life, in the most recent years of my life, been very dedicated to saving. So I've had a big chunk of money saved that I was able to dip into to figure out what to do in the short term, and then able to put the pieces back together in the long term. So I definitely think that it's really important that you have at least 3 months saved, 3 months of expenses in your savings account. And if you're in college and you can't do 3 months of expenses, at least do 1 month. Start there, and then little by little you make a goal to get to 3. But if you're a full-time working professional, you should have 6 months rent, because God forbid anything happens and you lose your job, you can't get a job for 4 or 5 months, you're going to be depending on your savings, okay? Victoria just talked about how she moved across the country, right? And she didn't have a lot of money. So she had her savings, but she's running out of that money. So like if she had a year of savings or 2 years of savings, think about how much easier it would be to take your time to figure it out. So definitely want to have at least 3 months, 6 months if possible, 12 months if you're really aggressive. If you can do more, always do more. It's great. Let's see. And that was Alexi Crown. Fernando Valadez says, he added his son as an authorized user. Will it affect his credit score if he removes him a couple years from now? Added him so that he could start building a credit score. No, it doesn't hurt your credit score when you remove an authorized user. You just have to make sure that they've been on there for a certain amount of time. And now this always depends on the terms and conditions that you signed them on as a user. So every card kind of gives you different, like a different deal. Some cards will be like, oh, if you add an authorized user, we'll lower your interest rate. Or if you add an authorized user today, and we'll increase your credit limit, right? They want more people to be able to swipe the card and for them to get more business. But at the end of the day, it's really up to you. And just make sure you look at the terms under which you signed them on as an authorized user. But for the most part, it usually doesn't hurt your score if you remove them. Another option is if you don't want to remove them, if it does end up, hurting your credit report in some way, what you can do is just take the credit card from your son and you control it. You can keep it in your wallet, as pretend it's your card, and then your son won't actually be able to use it. So you don't have to actually cut it, because at the end of the day, if you cut his card, it's gonna hurt his credit, not gonna hurt yours, right? Because his credit history that he had on that card is now completely gone. So you don't really want to do that to your son. The whole point of adding him as an authorized user, I'm assuming, was to help him start developing credit early. So you want to kind of let him keep that history. If you don't want him using your card anymore, just take it away and let him apply for another card. He should be approved because he already had established credit with the credit card that you authorized for him to use. So he should be all right. Can you elaborate on, this is Junior77048, can you elaborate on the Robinhood app and the benefits of it? Does it allow you to select the index or mutual funds that you want? So I don't use Robinhood personally, but I have read a lot about it, and it does allow you to individually pick anything that you're going to invest in, which is what I think the benefit of it is. And then the number one prime benefit of it, obviously on top of that, is that it's free. Robinhood allows you to invest for free, which is amazing. And if you're very informed about the stock market, then Robinhood is definitely the way to go, because you should know pretty much what you want to do, which funds you're thinking of investing in, or which specific year you know that you're going to want to plan to retire. You might want to pick a fund that has that year as the goal or whatever, right? So if you're informed and you kind of know a little bit about all the lingo, then go ahead and use Robinhood. It's definitely great for that. But for me, I really like the robo-advising option instead of me specifically picking, because it's, you set it and you forget it. It's just like autosave. Like, you just know every month it's going to happen and you don't have to worry about it. And index funds have been proven to really perform on par with the stock market. So you don't have to compete with the stock market. You don't have to try to constantly be beating the stock market performance. You could just chill, lay back and relax, and know that your money is being invested in a way that will get you at least, what the stock market is growing on average. Not necessarily better than that, or, maybe a little worse, but, pretty much be on par with that. So for me, that's why I choose robo-advising. But Robinhood is definitely really great. I've only read amazing things about it. Cesar Tello says, going into debt to start a business or save money over a long time to start a business. I would not recommend going into debt to start a business, but I know that it is a risk that a lot of people are willing to take if they feel a lot of passion and confidence in their business idea. To me, a business is nothing without the people behind it. So if you have strong, intelligent, driven, relentless, resilient people running a company or a business, then it's probably more than likely that the business will succeed than not, right? So kind of look at the people that you're working with, your team, or think about yourself. If you're the kind of person who knows that you're going to be relentless and you're not going to take no for an answer, and succeeding is the only option, then maybe it makes sense for you. This is definitely a personal choice. I can't be on here being like, don't ever do this, because who knows, maybe one day I'll decide to do it. You don't know, right? But every situation is case by case. I would say if you know that the people that are on board for this project are go-getters, are people that you would bet your bottom dollar on, then yes. If not, if you're not sure about these people, or you don't know yet, you haven't been through it all with them yet, they haven't proven themselves, then maybe not so much, right? Because you want to make sure that you're going in with ride or die people. Victoria says, thank you for answering my question. You got it, girl. JH says, I have an enormous amount of money on debt, all accounts and collection. How could I deal with the collections besides paying them that can help me improve my score? So here's the thing. Collections were completely out of the debt collector's hands. The person who you owe the money to decided that they're so tired of chasing after you that they're going to hire somebody else to deal with you. That is really bad, right? So at the end of the day, if you have something in collections, your top priority should be to get rid of it or to put a plan in place. So I would call the collection company and I would say, hey, I do not have the amount of money that you're coming after me for right now. I don't have it, right? Can I set up a payment plan? Can I put this much money a month? If you set up a payment plan with them, the amount that the collection is reporting is going to be decreasing every month rather than staying the same. And that ultimately will help your credit score increase, but it will be a very slow and gradual increase. It's not going to be one day to the next like utilization does, right? Because utilization means you're getting rid of a chunk of your debt and then your score will increase. This is like a very slow climb, right? It's like a tiny bit here, a tiny bit there, every month a little bit more, until eventually long term you will see that the collection is gone. So at the end of the day, no, there's really nothing that you can do. A lot of people post on YouTube all these videos about how to get rid of collections. Never pay collections. Honestly, at the end of the day, if you know that you genuinely owe that money, it is a debt that you truly owe, put a plan in place to pay it off. You owe it. But if you're not sure about it, or something wasn't ethical about it, or you really are confused about how you know that much, then you need to dispute it. Then you need to start calling the collectors and saying, I don't know what this money is. I don't remember spending it. I don't think I owe it. Or maybe somebody else did it in my name or whatever. And maybe then at that point you need to get it removed, which means that you need to file a claim and all that. So it definitely takes a process. So if you're not sure that the debt is actually yours, then go that way. If you're positive that you owe that money, you know exactly where it was from, stop playing games and just set up a plan and pay it. Because it's always better to just do it the right way than to kind of go backwards and forwards a million times, take a couple steps back to come forward one step, to go 10 steps back. It's not, you're not going to end up in a better situation. It's just going to come back to you and bite you. No way, Jose. I don't know what that message was about. I paid off one of my credit card, my one and only credit card recently, and got my credit score went up 30 points, and now I have a 0% utilization. Thanks for your insight. You are very welcome. Who's that? Will M. That, you know, you should be thanking me. You should be thanking yourself, because it takes a lot to dedicate yourself to really pay off debt, because you could do whatever you want with your money. You don't have to pay off your debt. And that's what makes it so hard, right? Is that people end up thinking it's so much easier to just go buy what I want instead of paying the debt off, even though that is technically, you know, the right thing, the smart thing to do. So thank you to you for being so committed to yourself, and thanks for coming to the channel. Yeah, I mean, I try to be realistic about what makes the most sense, but you know, it's hard. A lot of people choose not to do, you know, what I suggest. A lot of people choose to do things a different way, to pay their debt slowly instead of attacking it all at once. But you know, sounds like you did the right thing. By the way, MissBeHelpful, you look great tonight. Thank you. I feel like you guys are making me blush. Maybe it's just hot in here, but you guys are so sweet. All the compliments, I really love them all. I got my score up about 50 points because of utilization. It's really fast. Yes, it is. I mean, honestly, I could talk about utilization all night tonight, for real, because people just don't realize how big of a chunk this is from your credit score. I mean, 30% is huge. That's 1/3 of the pie. So, you know, a lot. It's almost half of your score. And people sleep on that. I'm telling you, people will be sleeping. How much money would you recommend for someone to move to New York? Woo! Specifically the Bronx. Okay, well, the Bronx is changing. You know, don't get it twisted. A lot of people think Brooklyn and the Bronx, and you know, is cheaper. Not really. A lot of New York City is getting gentrified right now like crazy. And so the South Bronx, a lot of people back in the day, or when I was growing up, South Bronx was so dangerous. Oh, people were scared to go to the South Bronx. It's like, don't walk around in the dark there. But now people are calling it Sobro, and there's nice buildings and condos and stuff. So I think, you know, New York is kind of changing, so don't be surprised if, you know, neighborhoods that you thought would be pretty affordable for you or for any, you know, anybody really who needs sort of affordable housing is not necessarily that affordable anymore. So just do your research. Spend some time online. Look on all the websites. Look on, like, oh man, I'm forgetting the name of this website where you can look at different rents for different neighborhoods in the area. Maybe it's like Streetwise or something like that. I don't remember what it's called, but basically there's a lot of different websites where you can look and find out how much rent is being charged depending on the neighborhood, depending on the specific building, depending on what trains are near there, all that kind of stuff. So spend some time online and look, and if you know it's not realistic for you, do not do it. So many people try to like make big moves and try to go across the country or to go to a city that's huge, that's gonna give them opportunity. And if you're not financially secure, or at least partly there, don't make that move until you are, because you will end up regretting it if it doesn't work out the way you thought and you don't have anything to fall back on. You're gonna have to run home to mommy and daddy crying saying it didn't work out. You don't want to be that embarrassed. So just kind of make sure you have the financial security at least partly in place before you make a huge decision like that. All right, let's see. Next message. The credit score is right now is 750. Yes, all right, Will. You better go ahead and get that 750. You close to 800. You might mess with my score real soon. I'm at 808. Real close. Hi, I'm about to open a Roth IRA with Target Date Mutual Fund with Fidelity. Do you recommend Fidelity? I know people who have Fidelity. I've heard good things, and I've also heard bad things. I've heard good things about Fidelity from people that have been there for a very long time. It's a very traditional, safe place to save. But I, for the most part, always recommend, if you're going to do a Roth IRA, I recommend Betterment or Wealthfront. I recommend a place that allows you to like have it in the palm of your hand and constantly be able to know and learn. You can talk to you know, people online. You can talk to them via chat. You can email them directly. There's a lot of support when you do robo-advising, and it's also just so easy to automate, right? I think Fidelity is kind of a little bit of one of the more old school names in the industry, and I think there's a lot of new players in the game that I think people should consider, because they're offering a lot of cool new perks for, you know, younger people and people of our generation, and also just people who are hip with technology. If you have a phone and you want to be able to click your app and fit and be kind of like in the know, then I definitely think robo advising is the way to go. I personally have my Roth IRA with Betterment, and you guys, I do not get sponsored by anybody. I don't get sponsored on this channel. I ain't on that level yet. All right, we ain't there yet. I don't get sponsored by Betterment, Wealthfront. I don't get sponsored by Robinhood. Nobody. If I say that I like it, it's because I personally use it, or I know from stories and experiences that have been shared with me that it works, or that it's been yielded success for people that I know. But you know, I ain't getting paid for saying any of this. Who's that? Nora's Vlogs. Hi, what's the best investment in 2018? If you're talking about a specific stocks to invest in, that is not, for me, it's just like, when somebody comes up to me and says, "Ooh, Johnny Lee, which stock should I invest in? Girl, give me a hot stock tip." That just tells me like they clearly don't understand stock investing, because the only people that have the luxury of being able to put money directly into one specific stock are people with a lot of freaking money. And that ain't me yet, guys. That ain't me yet. So I'm not out here investing in individual stocks. I would tell you to invest in an index fund and to be steady and consistent with it. Do not invest money in one specific hot hit stock that you think is going to blow up, because look at what happened to United Airlines. Ooh. If you were investing in United and then that whole incident happened last year and it went downhill, you're screwed. Your money that in that stock is gone, or it's gonna plummet. You're gonna lose a lot. So you don't want to be risking it like that and picking individual stocks. So stick with index funds, girl. Which cashback credit card do you recommend? There's a lot of cashback credit cards, honestly. For me, I think the highest cashback that I've heard of right now is 5%. If there's one that offers more than that, y'all need to hook me up and tell me which one. But I have that, and that's the Chase Freedom. But the thing about it is that it's selective categories that rotate. So I think it's every quarter. So every like 3 months, it will tell you what the category is. So it could be, you know, gas, it could be restaurants, it could be like wholesale stores like BJ's and stuff like that. So it kind of really depends on the category. If you're looking for a card that's gonna give you cash back on everything, it's really hard to find. The most you're gonna get back like is like 2% or like 1.5% everything. So I mean, I definitely recommend, if you're trying to go for 5%, try the Chase Freedom. It's a pretty good card and I have it. Or I think there's a Chase Freedom Unlimited that does 1.5% across every category, which is on every purchase, which is pretty good. But yeah, it kind of depends. It depends on what you're looking for, if you're interested in the rotating categories, or if you just want like a flat percentage back for everything. Oh my gosh, guys, it keeps going all the way down to the bottom. Let me scroll back up. Love your content, well-spoken words. Thank you, Sal. I really appreciate that. Those positive words. I love, love, love. Junior 77048 says, which books do you recommend to read in regards to personal finance and investing? Check out my video. Yo, I have a video about this. I have a video called The Best 5 Personal Finance Books or something like that. And off the top of my head, I would say The Millionaire Next Door is definitely the #1 book that I recommend, because even though it doesn't give you like step 1, open a savings account, step 2, like it doesn't give you very specific things that you could write down and go do, but it helps you to start to change your mindset, which is the hardest thing to do in this day and age. We're constantly being fed media, ads, spend your money on this, buy this. You know, when you go online and you click and you're looking at a pair of boots or something, or like a coat, or you're looking at like a getaway vacation or something, and then like every single ad that comes up on the side of your Facebook and Instagram for like the next 2 weeks is that same thing that you were looking at. That's the world we're living in. I mean, this is clickbait, like, whoa. And that's tempting and tempting and tempting you to spend money. So in order for you to not be susceptible to that kind of craze that's going on right now on the internet, and all these ads to click on, and all these ways to spend money so quickly without really thinking it through, the best way to really not give into that is to change your mindset and develop a mindset that makes you believe firmly that that is not the way to go, right? Spending money on useless things or not planning your spending is not the way to go. You have to really believe that. And so you have to be interested in like the long-term benefits of saving and being smart about, you know, planning and things like that. This book changes your mindset so quickly. It shows you like secret life of like millionaires. It says, contrary to popular belief, even though a bunch of millionaires out there spend all their money on fancy cars and all this stuff, like you look at, you know, MTV Cribs and celebrity houses and all this stuff on TV, makes you think that the millionaires that exist in this country are living like that. But that's just a very small percentage of the millionaires that exist. Most millionaires actually are in it for the long haul. They just save slowly, little by little over time until they become millionaires. So it kind of helps you to develop that mindset. Definitely check out The Millionaire Next Door. And then look at my other video, because there's a lot of other books in there that I recommend. Let's see who else. Victoria says, when interest is high or low, like when you need to pay off high interest debt before you start saving. So the average interest rate on any credit card is 15%. The highest they can ever charge you is 30%, or technically 29.999%. And the lowest that you really will find, man, I don't think is anything less than like 11 or 12% right now. So really amazing interest on credit card debt specifically. We're talking about 10, 11%, 12%. That's low. And if you're thinking about high interest, we're talking about 29.99%. If you are talking about student loans, if you got a really great student loan, you could be paying 3% or 4%. That's really not bad. But a lot of people are actually paying 10% or 11 or 12%, which is now getting into the territory of credit card debt. So definitely kind of think about those numbers. The average being 15, the low being like 10, 11, 12 range, and the high being 29.99%. So stay as low as possible, far away from 29.99%, and then you'll be good. You rock, by the way. We did meet before in Florida. Andy, what? Andy the Virgo, I met you in Florida. You were very sweet, and I met your sister maybe a year or two ago. Oh, snap. Okay, so you know the fam. Mr. Smith says, lol, that's true about utilization. Yup. Followed her advice and my score jumped 75 points. You guys, I ain't lying. Like, there's so many stories on here about utilization. Believe them. I'm not, you know, sending in these comments. Utilization does change your score. So if you're skeptical, don't be skeptical no more. Go on to your, you know, credit card app, log in. If you don't have it yet, you better download that app and automate your finances. And, you know, pay off the debt, because at the end of the day, that is the thing that is going to improve your score the fastest. I really can't say it enough. Bella fam, hey girl, you back? I see you. Fernando, utilization is key. Yup. No rental insurance. I think you might be talking about the fire that I talked about before. No, that was my big mistake. I did not have renter's insurance. But the thing is, I'm a New Yorker, like born and bred in New York. Like, I never knew about this stuff, and my family didn't really tell me about renter's insurance. It wasn't even something that I really thought about. And honestly, I never had personal finance or financial literacy education in school. So when you're going through, so you learn like, oh, you're supposed to do this. You're supposed to have insurance. You're supposed to have these types of insurance. And when I was in college, and even a little bit after college, a lot of people were talking about like life insurance and all this different stuff. And after I started reading about it, I learned that life insurance is not necessarily a thing that you should invest in unless you have kids. That was always kind of the takeaway that I got, which I was like, oh, I don't have no kids. I guess I don't really need to insure anything really. And, you know, turns out that was a big mistake. But because I had a fallback, because I had my emergency savings, right, it wasn't that bad for me. But it would have been easier if I did have renter's insurance, because it would have covered everything that was lost in the fire. But, you know, you live and you learn. Interest high yield savings account are great for a SOAR or park for your emergency fund. Yes, they are. I definitely recommend a long-term savings account, and, you know, not like a short-term one. Like a lot of people ask me about CDs and stuff like that. A CD is just going to offer you like, you know, I don't know, 3%, 2%. It's not going to be awesome. It's not going to be a really great deal. So what I recommend is just keeping your savings in like Ally Online Savings Bank or something like that, that offers a high return on your savings, and then put the rest after like you hit your goal. If your goal is 3 months, when you hit that, then go straight into investing in a Roth IRA or investing in a taxable investment account with either, you know, Wealthfront or Betterment or one of these robo-advising companies that offers you index funds and a lot of different ETFs. Because if you have ETFs, it's also similar to index funds in the fact that it picks a lot of, it stands for exchange traded funds. So it's like having funds, right, where all of the different stocks that you have in that fund are, you're investing your money in that, and then you can actually trade the funds. You can say like, I'm going to take this whole fund, which is a lot of different stocks, and trade it for that fund, which is a lot of different stocks, which is really, you know, kind of new, because in the past, the stock market was only trading individual stocks. So it's kind of thinking of ways to maximize and kind of take the most benefit from the stock market and the performance of indexes, which is a lot of different companies doing well, because you're splitting your money across all those companies instead of putting all your eggs in one basket. So definitely do agree with that. Mr. Smith says, I have a 2014 account and they went to collections. Now I'm at a collection agency, and can I get it dismissed using a 609 letter? 609 letter is kind of old school. I ain't gonna front. It's kind of old school. You know, when you read about it, it's usually like very formal writing, like you have to print out these letters, you have to, you know, go through this whole process. But that doesn't mean that it don't work. I've definitely had people write to me in my email and saying, I did the 609 letters process and it worked really well for me. So I think that there's definitely the possibility that this could work out well for you. That being said, it is a process and a half. This is not something that you're just gonna write a letter, put it in the mail with a little stamp on it, and tomorrow it's gonna be fixed. 609 letters, it's like such a process. I mean, it's a back and forth. You got to send the first letter, and then within 30 days, if you don't hear from them, you got to send another letter. And the letter has to have very specific wording and very specific information in it. And that if you miss certain words that you didn't put in there, then your whole account will just be overlooked. They won't even pick up your claim. So 609, you have to really do your research. There's a lot of really great websites that explain, and a lot of blogs that I've read that are really detailed about what exactly you need to do. And some people even post like templates that you could just copy and paste and then tweak it and make it your own with your information. So if you could find resources like that online, that is amazing. Go ahead and follow through with that process, but definitely come in knowing that it's not going to be an overnight fix. Really, when it comes to credit, nothing is an overnight fix. The fastest overnight fix you're going to get is utilization, which still takes 30 to 60, sometimes even 90 days to really show up on your credit report. But even that is really fast compared to, waiting years to see the credit score improve. So that was Bella. AC says, any tips to save up for a year abroad? I'm guessing was that trying to say in France? I have 5 months to save and don't know how. What do you mean you don't know how? Saving literally just means you take the money out when you earn it and put it to the side. So you need to create a savings account, and you need to, every single paycheck that you get, as much as you can take out. If you could take out half of it, do it. If you can't, maybe 40% or 30%. But every single paycheck, you take the same amount of money and you move it to the savings account every single time you get your check. Literally the day you get your check, so that you're not tempted to look at it and maybe use it for something else. For me, the moment that I really started to see growth in my savings and my net worth was when I started to automatically move money out of my account. So as soon as I would get my paycheck, it would be like, bam, here you go. Here's whatever, let's say $1,000. Bam, here's $1,000. Like an hour after I saw the $1,000 in my account, it would be down to like 800. Because $200 automatically went into my Roth IRA. Then, like a few hours later, it would be down to 500 because 300 automatically went into my savings. And I'd be like, damn, I thought I had $1,000. Now I'm down to 500. But you know what? It made sure that I was forced to think I only have $500 to spend. I don't have $1,000 because I got to pay myself first, and I have to, put my priorities first, which is saving. So you could do the same thing. If your priority is to go abroad to France, then you need to create a dream fund, a fund where it's like every single time I get a paycheck, I'm gonna take a chunk of it and just put it there, and I'm gonna pretend it doesn't exist. And then in 5 or 6 months, I'm gonna look at the account and be like, damn, okay, great, this is how much money I saved, and now how can I work with that much? If not, I need to make another 5-month plan, keep saving, and double that amount. So you really just, it's not really hard. It's just, the hard part is being consistent with it and actually being disciplined enough to not touch the account and not even look at it for the duration of the time that you're saving, so 5 or 6 months or whatever. Because it's really easy to log in and take a look, but you really shouldn't. You should forget that it's there and just keep every month saving, and it will pay off. Okay, Mr. Smith says the letter that you sent, thank you, to your credit bureau challenging debt, that you have to prove that to your account. Yeah. So you're talking about the 609 letters, which I already talked about, and I really just think that you gotta go in knowing what you're getting yourself into. It's not gonna be a quick fix. AK Rudla, sorry if I'm not pronouncing that right. I have no money saved and quite a bit of credit card debt. Oof. Do you recommend focusing on saving or paying off the debt, or divide my money for both? Divide your money for both. Unless the interest is at a rate, unless the interest of the debt is at a high rate, like 29%, at that point, then I would say, girl, you probably need to save a little bit and put a lot towards the debt and see what you can do. Leverage your family, your support system. Try to get, people to help you out in the situation that you're in now, so that when you're debt free, you can kind of go more on your own and be a little more independent. But do not be afraid to leverage your support system. Too many people be like, oh, I'm too grown to be asking my mama for help. Or I'm too grown to be, staying with my parents' house. No, you're too grown to be having debt, okay? That's what you're too grown for. You need to get out of that debt and be independent the way that an adult should. You should be able to grasp hold of your financial situation and be able to make decisions that will help you, but ultimately also, fall back and help your family as well. If you are constantly, in a situation where you're not going to be able to be independent and you're constantly stressing about that, how much help are you really going to be to yourself and to your family? So we really always, have to challenge our mindset. It's not about depending on people for help. It's about depending on people for a little while until you can really get on your own 2 feet, and then you can go back and help them as well. You got to help yourself first. Ooh, I'm thirsty. Bella Fem says, okay, done on Credit Karma. Yep, you can do that on Credit Karma. I applied for a cashback card since I dine and drive a lot. Okay. Though my credit score is great, I got denied since I have $90,000 in school loans, which I'm making my payments on. Should I apply again later? I would not apply again for another 6 months. And honestly, there's something in your credit score, in the FICO score, that's called your debt to income ratio, which means that if your income is not close to or greater than your amount of debt that you owe, you will likely continue to get denied for new credit. And I know that sucks, because What it means is that you essentially either have to aggressively pay down the debt so that it's closer to what you make in income, or aggressively increase your income so that it's closer to the amount of debt that you have. But if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. Why would you want to lend somebody money who's only bringing income in that is like half as much or less than half as much as what they owe? It's like they're never going to be able to get their debt under control. So right now, if you have $90,000 in school loans, what I would do is I would set up a payment plan. Sounds like you're already doing that. And just kind of call the credit cards that you're interested in applying for and see if you could get pre-approved. Because if you get pre-approved, then that means that they're letting you know before you actually apply that you're likely to get accepted, so that you don't put the application through and then get denied and then get upset. You can actually, have a good idea. Are they going to approve me? Is it going to be worth it for me to do this hard pull, this hard inquiry on my report and on my credit score? It's not ultimately worth it if you get denied. But if you find out beforehand that you are likely to get accepted, it's not guaranteed, but it does give you a good chance, then that's a smart way to go. So that's called pre-approval. I would call the credit card that you're interested in getting and just say, hey, is there any way that I can get pre-approved for this card? I've been looking at it for a while, and I applied about 6 months ago to a year ago, and I want to apply again. I would wait 6 months minimum, but probably a year I would wait before you apply again. Sharice Moore says, which is the easiest Amex starter card for someone trying to get in the door with Amex? That's my dream card to own. There's like an everyday Amex card that I think statistics show that the most that get accepted for Amex cards is for the Amex everyday. I don't know, I think it's like a blue and clear one, but it's pretty much like everyday spending, like anything you need. That one I would say is probably your best bet. Another one that I would say is, actually I was gonna say like any connections that they have, like Amex with like a flight cards that they have, like with airlines and stuff like that. But Amex actually used to have a connection with JetBlue and doesn't have it anymore, so that's out the window. But yeah, like the Amex everyday card, just look for ones that like are meant for everyday people to use every day, not like the black card, not like the one that you have to pay in full every month. Like those are for high income earners, people that got money to spare. You want to look for like an everyday people everyday card. Hi Janelli, hello, love from India. Yes, oh my god, look at this, all the way from India. Thank you so much for jumping on and supporting. I don't have my emergency fund yet, but I have some investments. I'm working from 3 years. Can you make a video about how to make your emergency fund? Yeah, I could definitely do that. I mean, I think that's one of the very early things that people need to do before thinking about like taking any next steps, is to set up that emergency fund. But I think what you should do is think about what options are available to you in India. I'm sure that there's like some sort of local banks or organizations, financial institutions that are really there to kind of help the local people and would offer you a high interest, or as high as possible interest on your savings. So you want to kind of look at that, because that's going to allow you the opportunity to invest but get back interest on your saving, right? Because you don't want to just put the money and let it sit there and not grow. So you want to try to find what's the highest interest in India that you could invest your money in. So definitely start looking into that, asking questions about that and figuring out what it is, because if you just go to the first bank you see, you might not get the best deal. So you want to first do your research before you open the emergency fund. And then what I would say is, once you have that open, just automatically do automatic pay. Not automatic pay, what am I trying to say? Do direct deposit. So every time you get paid, you don't get a check. You don't have to walk to the bank and cash it. That's a waste of time. You could just do a direct deposit into that account, and then you can start to decide how much of that you're going to take out to pay bills and to do what you have to do, and the rest of it should stay in the account. Smith says, yeah, those online disputes are okay, but those letters are usually for those things that are a little harder to get off your credit. Yep, it's those things that really are going to take time to work through. Let's see. If my credit goes down due to my credit utilization, can it go back up the following month? Yup. That's the amazing thing about utilization. Utilization changes live feed. It's literally feeding constantly the information every month, the way that it updates. So if you owe a lot of money on your credit card and you want to get a really good score so you can apply for something, you can pay all of that down, bring your utilization down to 1% or 0%, as low as possible, and then your credit score 30 to 60 days later will jump up. Depending on how much utilization you had, you'll see an increase of almost 100 points or more than 100 points, depending on the amount that you paid off. And then you'll see the score improve. At that point, you could then go and apply for whatever you're interested in looking for, because they will be seeing the credit score in the moment. Remember, your credit score is a snapshot right now of how your credit score is. Tomorrow it might change. The next day it might change. Next month it might go down or it might go up. But utilization is definitely one of the things that if you pay it off, it will immediately show the next month in your score. If not the next month, then the following. So 30 to 60 days. Gina H says, is having low utilization a temporary fix? Yes, meaning you have a high score as long as you do it, but once your utilization increases, yep, your score plummets. Yes, Gina, that's pretty much the question that I just talked about as well. Yeah, as soon as your utilization goes back up, your score is going to drop because it's just showing that for some reason you're needing to spend that much on credit. Why do you rely on credit so much? Why does your credit need to be used so much? You know, that's the phrase maxing out your card, maxing out your credit card. Why is that such a bad thing? Why does it have such a bad reputation? Because when you max out your credit card, your utilization is the highest it could possibly be, 100%. So if you max out your card, that's the worst mistake you can make. So if your utilization is really high, 70%, 60, 80%, you're getting really close to maxing out your credit card, which is the worst thing you could do. So you don't want to even get risky and start getting high. You always want to keep your utilization down below 10% or around 10%. You know, if you don't need your credit to be really amazing right now, if you're not applying for a house, or if you're not applying to anything, new credit cards or new applications for credit, then you should be fine around 30% or 20%. But if you want excellent credit, or you're applying for a house or something like that, then you got to bring it down to 10% or lower. Zinmin Tet says, I am filing my tax return for my parents, but they need to pay for penalties not having health insurance. Yeah, man, I know that sucks. And I know that they are that they qualify to get ECN, but I have no idea where to get that number. I looked online and saw some form from the IRS, but they told me that I can't apply to get an ECN for the past of the year. So I'm assuming, can you suggest for me where to get an ECN number? I don't know where you can get the ECN number, but what I would do is I would contact the IRS. If you go to irs.gov, you'll be surprised how many resources that are available on that website. You can go to irs.gov, go to the search bar and type in ECN number, how to get my ECN numbers, and you will be able to get step-by-step instructions, or you'll be able to get an email address to contact, or FAQs, a form to kind of read through, because at the end of the day, like, the IRS is going to be the one to control that ECN number. So there's not really anywhere else that you can go to try to get it. The IRS needs to give it to you. So the best way to go is to go directly to the source. Go to the IRS and ask them. And the website is actually a really good place to go. You can also scroll down and probably go to contact and then type in like your zip code or something like that and see if they have like a local number that you can call. But definitely check out the IRS website. People be sleeping on the IRS website. They have a lot of good resources on there. Good idea. Thanks. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you, mi amor. You are very welcome. A lot of people are so friendly, using mi amor and beautiful and all these nice little terms that, you know, yeah, really endearing on you. You're the best. You are welcome. Love your nails. Oh, thank you. I painted them myself. Essie. I use that Essie nail polish. I just buy one and it lasts me so long. You know, I don't have to buy a lot of nail polishes. Alba Briseño says, I've checked my credit on Credit Karma Experian on both my JetBlue and Capital One apps, and they all have different scores. How do I know which one is accurate? The most accurate one is all of them. They're all accurate, but they're all different. So it's kind of, it's like, how can I explain it? It depends on where you're applying for credit, what score they use, and where they're going to go look to find your credit score. Most lenders are going to look for the FICO score. So Credit Karma is not necessarily the best one for accuracy of your FICO score because they use Vantage Score 3.0. They don't use the FICO score. But what Credit Karma is really good for is tracking the growth, or, you know, the dropping of your score. You can see how it's growing or how it's dropping, how you're doing, you know, performance over time. You can also see just accurate information about what's on your credit report, how many accounts you have, how long you've had credit. All that individual information is definitely accurate on Credit Karma. But what's not accurate on Credit Karma is the number being equal to your FICO score. Your FICO score is calculated differently from your Vantage score. So you want to make sure that you have some access to your actual FICO score. You said that you have JetBlue and Capital One. Capital One gives you access to your FICO score because I have the Capital One. What Capital One card do I have? I have the Capital One. I forget what card it is. It's a Venture Rewards card, and that card, when I log into my app, it allows me to see my FICO score. So if you have the Capital One app, you log in and you see your FICO score, that's probably the one that I would bet money on. That's going to be the most reliable for you to have a good sense of what lenders are seeing when they look you up. It's going to be that FICO score. Oh yeah, streeteasy.com. So the person who was saying about moving to New York, I think I said Streetwise or something, it was StreetEasy. So you just go to streeteasy.com and you can check it out. What's your view on cryptocurrency? So I have a couple videos about cryptocurrency / Bitcoin / investing using Coinbase, which is what I've used. I definitely do think that the idea behind cryptocurrency is super cool. I think that anytime people are trying to revolutionize and change the game and try to make systems better and improve things for more people, I am totally about that. But you know, the details it depends on the details. And I did a little bit of research and I kind of thought a lot about it before I wanted to put money down. But I did invest some money in Bitcoin, and I did invest in a little bit in Ethereum. At the end of the day, I ended up just putting all of it back into Bitcoin and just leaving it there. And you know, it went up a lot and then it dropped. I think it's definitely lower right now because Bitcoin was almost 20,000 and then it dropped to like 10,000 the last time I checked, which was a couple days ago. So yeah, it dropped a little bit right now, which if you're not capable of seeing something go up and down, up and down, up and down, then stay away from Bitcoin, because literally Bitcoin and honestly most cryptocurrencies right now are a roller coaster ride. You know, you're going up and down, up and down, up and down. And if you're not able to, you know, hold yourself together without throwing up on a roller coaster, then you're not going to want to get on the roller coaster. You know, if you're not going to be able to keep yourself together and stay put and be okay with the just allowing it to do what it's going to do, then, you know, it's not going to be the best investment for you. I think that cryptocurrency is definitely a really cool idea, and I want to back up ideas and the sort of you know, what the message is behind it. It's trying to say, like, let's get together and start making transactions without this constant regulation, without people constantly taking fees from what we're doing. And I get that could be dangerous, that could be risky, you know, because then it opens the door to a lot of people doing some negative stuff. But at the end of the day, I do think there's a lot of freedom in these ideas and a lot of opportunity and a lot of autonomy for individual people to take control of their financial decisions, which I'm all about that, right? So I definitely do support cryptocurrency. I think there's a lot of crazy people out here putting all these crazy coins out and saying you got to invest in this, you got to invest in that. At the end of the day, you know, there's mainstream names that people know, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, stuff like that. If there's all these little coins constantly popping out that are supposed to be popular, it's just like stocks, right? You stick with what, you know, the index funds. Put it there, set it and forget it, right? Don't expect like to be super rich one day to the next. And if that's what you're chasing, then just stop right now, because you're gonna make yourself crazy trying to chase that. Bella Femme says I have Betterment, but I'm not seeing any returns. Anyone else has Betterment? Well, I have Betterment. I think what you're probably doing is you probably have your allocation wrong, girl. I don't know your age, Bella, but I'm assuming you're young, right? So if you're young, you want to have most of your money in stocks and just a little bit of your money in bonds. Or actually, I would even venture to say almost no money in bonds, because bonds are very, 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 very safe and conservative investments. And there's no need for you at this young age to be making super safe and conservative investments. You got your whole life ahead of you and you're very young. And so by the time you actually go to retire, it's going to be decades from now. So most of your money, if not all of your money, should actually be in stocks. My Betterment account right now is at 30% return. And that's not to brag. That's to say that most of it is actually in stocks. And I have I think it's like 1% or like 2% that I have in bonds, and the rest of it is in stocks. And then as I get a little older, once I hit 40, you know, I would drop stocks a little bit and increase bonds a little bit. When I turn 50, I'll do that again. I'll drop my stocks a little bit and increase my bonds a little bit. As I get closer to the age when I'm going to be considering retirement, then I want bonds to be a little higher and stocks to be a little lower, because I don't want to be being risky and playing games with my money. I don't want to be taking high risks, right? Because I want that money to be available for me in the short term. But right now, Bella, you don't need that money in the short term, girl. You putting that money in there and leaving it there for when you need it. So increase the percentage of your allocation of stocks. Increase it to like high 90s, and bonds should be low. And then you will start to see that growth coming real quick. Christian Hernandez, I don't know what message you try to correct, but I see that correction there. Victoria says, yeah, I got Betterment because Nelly recommended I only put $20 in a month ago and I'm already up $1.50. That's pretty good. Yeah, but what I would say is you definitely have to make sure that allocation is right. Maybe I should do another video, because I talked about Betterment, but I didn't really tell people that the allocation has to be right. If you put 50-50, you ain't gonna see no returns. If you put 60% of your money in the bonds and 40% in the stocks, you're not taking any risks. You know, your money's not going to grow fast. If you want money, you got to take the risk, right? And I know a lot of people are afraid of that when it comes to the stock market, but if you're too afraid of it, then maybe the stock market is not the place for you. Maybe you want to put your money in a CD that guarantees you 4% return. For me, I want to take that risk now that I'm young and get the 30% return. And later in life, I'll drop it down when I'm closer to retirement and make sure that my money is more secure for me when I need to take it out. David Hernandez, yo, Miss Lovely, I accrued $12,000 in credit card debt. Woo! I'm looking to consolidate all of it in one monthly payment. What financial institution would you recommend? It depends. $12,000 is not a crazy amount. I would recommend you check out SoFi, which stands for social financing. It's a really amazing tech, financial tech company. It's similar to the Lending Club, similar to Prosper. I actually recommend checking out all of them: SoFi, Prosper, and Lending Club. When I had to pay down, put up a video actually recently about how I paid off $15,000 worth of debt, and I did it in like a year or two. And how I did it was I actually went and took a loan from the Lending Club, and actually took 2 loans, and then I used them to pay off all the debt, and then I paid the Lending Club every month consistently, and it was like $200 or $300, and I would put like more. I would put $500 or $600 every single month until I paid it all off. So I definitely recommend checking out SoFi, Prosper, and Lending Club. Those are all really great options. Let's see who's next. Oh my gosh, you guys, I really hate when I log to see the comments and then it bumps me all the way down to the bottom, and then I can't see all the people that wrote to me on the top. I'm sorry, guys. I promise I'm scrolling up to see who wrote me first. Okay, I'm back at where I was. Philip says, which credit card do you recommend that gives the best travel rewards? Well, I think it depends on where you travel and what you travel with. If you travel with a specific airline, then I definitely recommend you try to get that airline's card, because you're gonna get the most perks with them. And if you're a loyal customer to that airline, then definitely makes sense for you to go with whatever perks they're offering you for being loyal to them. For example, I fly JetBlue a lot, so I have the JetBlue card. And every time I look for a flight somewhere, I try and check if there's a JetBlue flight available. If not, then I'll go and see Delta or American or something else. But usually I try to go JetBlue first, because I know that I'm going to get the most rewards for spending money with JetBlue on my JetBlue card. So I definitely recommend that. I know that a lot of people are so obsessed with the Chase Sapphire or Chase Preferred. Definitely check them out. What I will say about them is that they have very high annual fees, so it's got to be worth it. If you're not going to use all the perks that they're offering you, which means that you're not going to travel a lot and actually use all the lounges that they give you access to, and actually get reimbursed for the $300 travel credit and do all that, if you're not going to do all that stuff, you're wasting a lot of money on that card, because those Chase cards have a very high annual fee. So you want to be careful about it, because then you're going to end up being stuck paying that annual fee every year. And if you don't use the card that much, it's not going to really be worth it. Then you're going to end up canceling the card and hurting your score. So you want to make sure it's the right decision. Okay, so if you're looking for one that is across all airlines, you know, check out Capital One. I have the Venture Rewards, which I think is pretty good. It's easy to accrue points. And then if you have a specific airline that you love, just go specifically with their airline card. Alma Soul says, hi, what bank or website do you recommend for opening a savings account? Ally. Again, you guys, every time I say names out here, I ain't getting paid by these people. But Ally, if you go online and look for the bank that gives you the highest interest return on your savings, which means that you put $1 into your savings account, who's going to give you the most pennies back for that dollar? Right now, you're only going to be able to get 1 penny for the $1 that you put in. That means every $1 that you put in, you're gonna get a penny back. So that's actually with Ally. So it's a 1% return on online savings accounts. The only problem is that Ally does not have actual physical locations that you can go to. So you have to be okay with having only online access to this savings account. In my opinion, it's totally worth it. I know a lot of people that already have that account. I don't personally have it because I don't have a ton of money in my savings account. Most of my money is, you know, between different accounts that I use. So, I mean, maybe this year I'll actually make the switch over to Ally. But for the time being, I don't. I definitely do recommend them though, especially if you're starting a savings account now. You might as well go for the best bang for your buck. Ally, ALLY. Alma Soul says she's in Florida. Yep, you could be anywhere, girl, because Ally is an online bank, so it works for you. Victor Sala says, hey Victor, what's up? How you doing? Christine Lee, hi, love your channel. Thank you, Christine. I really appreciate that. What are your thoughts on Roth versus traditional IRAs, and who should invest in which? I'm a bit torn this year. Okay, I have both, but I will tell you this. When I first started with IRAs, I opened the traditional IRA because the way that I started with the IRA was because I had some money from my first job that was just sitting in this account. It was a 403B because I worked at a nonprofit charter school. And oof, I'm getting hot. After I left the company, I want to say like a few years later, they sent me a letter in the mail saying, listen, you have this money in your 403B account and your time for it to sit there is expiring. You have to do something with it. You either have to move it to an IRA, or you have to you know, take it out, cash it out or something. I knew that cashing it out was not a good idea because I read that everywhere, but I didn't know really what to do with it. So I looked online and everybody said just roll it over into an IRA. So I rolled it over, and because the money was pre-tax, I had to roll it over into a pre-tax IRA. A pre-tax IRA is a traditional. So Oh man, what's the easiest way to explain it? So if you earn $1, you're gonna have to pay 30 cents in taxes. That's a given. Like, you don't have a choice. It's not up to you. You're gonna pay the 30 cents. But what you do get a choice about is whether you want to give me the 30 cents now and walk away with 60 cents instead of $1, or if you want to pay me the 30 cents in the future. So you keep the whole dollar and you use it for whatever you want. And then when you're retiring, you need to give me 30 cents because from that time that you owed it to me. So that's pretty much the bottom line in the most basic way to understand. If you choose to give it to me now, that's called a Roth IRA, which means the taxes are gonna come out today and you won't ever have to pay taxes on that money again. Or you could choose to hold all of it in the account and let it all grow together with the hopes that the more you have in there, the more growth it will earn. And then when you take it out, you just pay those taxes then. So basically how you make your decision, you have to decide, do some research and decide whether you think taxes are an all-time high right now, or whether you think they're gonna be higher in the future, or if you think taxes are really low at an all-time low right now, or you think they're gonna be lower in the future. The whole goal around taxes for everybody and anybody who's, knows that taxes are taking money from you and giving it to the government, then everyone's goal is gonna be to minimize, to reduce the amount of taxes that you have to pay. It doesn't matter when you pay them. If you pay them today or if you pay them in the future, you don't wanna pay a lot of taxes. You wanna pay the least amount of taxes possible. So if you think that the tax rate that you're gonna be at is gonna be higher in the future, then pay the taxes now so that you can save money in taxes. But if you think that when you retire, your tax rates is gonna be lower, then you should wait, do the traditional IRA and pay the taxes in the future so you can get taxed at a lower rate. So that's kind of the decider. Do you think that you're gonna be paying more in taxes now, more in taxes later, or less in taxes now or less in taxes later? You wanna make sure you pick whatever is gonna make taxes the least for you. I have a Roth IRA that I contribute way more to than my traditional IRA. But if you're not sure about it, you literally are like, what? Like, how am I supposed to know? Taxes going up or down in the future? I ain't no fortune teller. I'm not Miss Cleo and I don't have a ball. Fine. If that's you and you're stressing out about it, don't stress out. Relax. Woosah. Just take half of what you can put in and put it in a traditional IRA, and the other half of what you can put it in the Roth IRA, and have both. And that's it. So you're paying taxes on half of your money now, and the other taxes will be paid on half the money in the future. So either way, you're not gonna get hurt, right? Whatever is better, you're gonna end up getting the average of both. Who was that? Christine Lee, right? That was a really good question. Great question, Christine. Yes, it was. Thank you so much for your advice. You rock. You are welcome, AC. You're very welcome. Hi, MissBeHelpful. Hi, Seashell SCC. I don't know if I said that right. I hope I did. Amex has one with Delta still. Oh, I didn't know that, Victoria. So yeah, if you're looking for an Amex card specifically with an airline, then you might want to check out the one they have with Delta. I didn't know that. I don't have that card. Fernando Valadez says, how many hard inquiries should you have in a short amount of time? How many hard inquiries will affect your score? So you shouldn't have more than 2, because once you have 3 hard inquiries, that's when it affects your score. You want to not have 3 or more. You want to have 1 or 2, and that's it. So remember, 3 or more is hurting your score. 1 or 2 is like, okay, it's expected to have 1 or 2 at any given point in time. But the way that you can prevent yourself from going over 2 is never ever applying for credit within 6 months of another application that you put in. So basically you have to wait 6 months after you apply every time before you apply for more credit. That way you apply for one in 6 months, and by the time the next 6 months pass, it takes a year for it to go away. So then by the time you're applying for new credit, the other one will have gone away. And so that kind of gives you some buffer to never have more than 2 inquiries on your credit report at once. To be more safe, I would recommend only applying for credit once a year or twice a year, but never more than that. So if you already applied for credit 2 times this year, you gotta wait for a full year before you apply again. And I know that's hard because you might see something you want to apply for, but you gotta wait, because as soon as you get that 3rd hard inquiry, you're gonna see a drop in your credit score, and that is something that you cannot change. You just have to wait a year for it to go away. It's not like utilization where you can play with it and change it. Not at all. Lydia Ray says, how long should you wait to apply for another credit card if you just applied for one last month? Oh, okay, I think I just answered that for you, girl. Sal F says, thank you so much. I waited for your answer. Oh, thanks, Sal. Thanks for waiting. I'm glad you got your answer. I've been trying to get through all of them, but there's a lot, guys. I'm only going to go on for like another 20 or 30 minutes because I don't want to go on too long. Edward says, what's the difference between using credit and debit with a debit card? Okay, so essentially there really isn't much of a difference. The only difference is time. So if you choose debit, when you click it, the amount is immediately going to be, like, you could log into your online banking, and you'll see it says you just swipe something at the store. But if you click credit, it's gonna go through as a credit, like sort of like it's gonna take 2 or 3 business days to settle the transaction, because that's usually how long it takes for credit cards to clear your transactions. So it's gonna basically follow the time of a credit transaction. So if you know you don't have the money in your account and you're trying to use something with your debit card, hit credit and give yourself a couple of days. You shouldn't really be doing that, but if you're in a tight position and you stress, then you know, hit credit. But if you don't care and you have it right now, just hit debit. It's just gonna come out right away. Makes it easier for you to know how much is left for you in your account. Hi, Candice. I think I said the name right. I hope I didn't. It might be Candice, but hi. Gina H says, can you post this live? Yeah, the video's gonna go up live. I mean, it's live right now, but even if you didn't get to join live, it's gonna go on the channel. So it's gonna end up being there. You could come back and watch it again later. Totally. I would love to see you do collaboration with the Financial Diet. Oh my God, I love the Financial Diet. Whoo, hashtag goals. I'm about to reach out to them and see if they want to collab, because I actually really do like the Financial Diet. They have really great videos. So Brandy K, thank you so much for suggesting that. That gives me some ideas for 2018. Junior says, I had a 401k that was investing in at my job, but they started offering a Roth 401k. Now I invest only in my Roth. Is there a way that I can transfer my traditional into my Roth? Ooh, great question. Here's the way that you can do it. You gotta pay. I know it sucks, but think about it. If the traditional IRA was pre-tax, or sorry, the traditional 401k was pre-tax, that means that you didn't pay taxes. You were able to save money before you got taxed. So you never got taxed on the money that's sitting in that traditional account. You're gonna owe the money. Remember, you have to pay your taxes. You're never gonna be able to escape your taxes. So that account is growing, growing, growing. And when you go to take money out of there, when you retire, you're gonna pay the taxes then. If you wanna put it into your Roth right now, the money that's sitting in your Roth has already been taxed. So in order to transition the money from your traditional into your Roth, the only thing you have to do is move it there and it will go. But then when you file your taxes for that year, you're gonna have to pay taxes on that. So whatever amount was in the Roth, you're gonna end up getting charged, you know, taxes on that amount, and then it'll settle when you file your taxes. So the tricky thing here is that you gotta be keeping track of this somewhere, because most people, they don't realize that they have to pay this later when they file their taxes. So when tax time comes, it will be like, did you have a traditional account that you transitioned into a Roth account? And you're gonna be like, oh yes, I did. Click yes. Great. How much did you transition? Oh, I put, you know, $1,000. Great. You owe $300 in taxes right now, because they're gonna tax you 30%. Right? You have to pay it. So in order for it to be Roth, you have to pay the taxes now. So you can easily transition any amount of money from a traditional account into a Roth, but you have to know that you're gonna have to pay taxes on that the moment that you do not the moment that you do the transition, the day that you file your taxes for that year in which you did the transition. Hope that was not too confusing, because I know I make things a little confusing sometimes. How do you access your FICO score? You can get your FICO score for free once a year on freeannualcreditreport.com, or you can check with a credit card that you have. Some credit cards, a lot of credit cards actually nowadays are starting to offer people their FICO score for free, because they know there's services like Credit Karma and Credit Sesame out there that are starting to offer people their credit score. So they know they have to stay relevant and they have to compete with that. So a lot of credit cards will allow you to log into your online app and scroll, and you'll be able to see your FICO score on the screen every month. So check to see if you have that. And then if not, go to annualcreditscore.com. Love what you are doing. Just joined. So sorry if it's been asked already. Besides maxing out your 401k, what other ways to reduce your taxable income? You can make donations. I know it's like the thing is that if you're doing something that is for your own good, for your own benefit, so like putting money aside to a 401k or for a Roth IRA or to an IRA, that's gonna be really right. It's always gonna help you later. So you definitely get a lower tax bracket this year, because it's gonna be reduced from your income. But that doesn't mean that you're not gonna pay those taxes. You're gonna pay those taxes later. So if you have a Roth account, Roth 401k or a Roth IRA, that actually doesn't give you a break when you file your taxes, because you've already paid taxes on that money. So you don't get any kind of a break. The only reason you get a break on traditional one is because you're promising to pay it later. So they're gonna let it go now, and then later they're gonna come for you and they're gonna get the taxes from you then. So what I would say is donations, give to charity. That's always a really easy way to lower your taxable income, because you'll be able to write it off. Any ways that you can create deductions for yourself, if you had medical expenses that you can deduct, if you had moving expenses that you can deduct, if you spent money traveling for work, or if you spent money buying specific clothes that you need for work, like if you work in construction or if you work in the medical field. For construction, you need specific type of boots and hard hat and thick clothes and gloves. If you work in the medical industry, you need scrubs. Every dollar that you spent on scrubs, you should be keeping those receipts and you should be writing that down, because you're going to be able to write all of that off on your taxes. So essentially, yeah, lowering your taxable income by creating as many deductions as you can. Now with this new Trump tax plan, Lord, there's going to be a big standard deduction. A lot of people are going to be able to double the standard deduction, which is going to be really nice right now, but eventually it's going to go back to normal. And so, you know, you don't want to depend on that. You want to try to think about ways that you can save for your own self, and not kind of depend on what the government is allowing you to save for just like a quick fix, because this is not going to be a permanent thing. This tax break that's happening is definitely just going to be like a quick thing. It's going to be temporary, and it's going to go away eventually. So I don't think people should be relying on that to save money. Let's see. How likely will banks agree if you ask to lower your interest rate on your credit card? I mean, they might. Who's that? Seashells, SEC? They might. You know what? What's the worst that could happen is that they're going to say no. Just call. You know what I mean? And the reason why they might lower it is if you have been a consistent client, if you've been loyal, if you've been with them for a long time. These are the kinds of things that will make them value you more as a client. If you are new, if you have been kind of messy with your payments, if you owe a lot of money, they're not going to want to lower that interest rate, because they're going to see that you have a lot of debt. So you want to be in a situation where you're the one that they want to keep as a client. If you do have a lot of debt, that doesn't mean you should give up. Still call and say to them, listen, I've been with you guys for so many years, and I've been a consistent and loyal client to you. I don't want to leave your credit card because I really love this card. It's one of my first cards and it's one of my favorite. Please consider lowering my interest rate. Who can I talk to about lowering my interest rate so that I can manage my payments better, because I'm paying a lot in interest. If they say no, ask to speak to their supervisor, ask to speak to their manager, stay adamant to talk to the next person up until you find somebody who can really give you an answer. And if they keep saying no, then you can say, you know what, I'm considering doing a balance transfer. Because if I balance transfer what I have here to a different card with a lower interest rate, I'm going to save a lot of money. And as soon as they hear you say you're about to hit the door, they're going to be like, oh, wait a minute, we can see what we'll do for you. Just hold 1 second, man. I'm going to get my manager. Because they don't want to lose you. They don't want to lose clients. Credit card companies are desperate to keep their clients and to make new clients constantly. So if you say something that's going to threaten them keeping you as a client, they will quickly do whatever they got to do for you. So if worst comes to worst, save that trick in your back pocket. Say, I'm considering doing a balance transfer. But don't just say any balance transfer. Have a specific card in mind with details that you can tell them so they know that you're not threatening, right? That you would actually consider doing it. And especially a balance transfer that would allow you to have zero interest or very low interest, so that you can, the big deal is that you're saving a chunk of money on interest. Thank you. That was really helpful. You're welcome. Let's see. My score went from 556 to 666 in 4 months. Nice. All right. That's over 100 points. Michelle Amara says, I turned 18 2 months ago. Happy birthday. I'm not sure whether to go for a Discover credit card or an Arvest credit card and put 500 down. I recommend Discover. Discover is not great. Everybody always says they hate it, but that's because it's the first card that you get. It's just like one of those credit cards that's gonna give a card to anybody who really needs it. Like students, they offer a lot of student credit cards with Discover, and it doesn't have the best terms, but just try to make sure that you have one that has 0 annual fee. If you have a Discover card with a 0 annual fee, you'll be fine. And Discover is well known for being the first credit card that a lot of people get. So it's not necessarily going to be something that is kind of like random, like the Arvest card. Arvest card is kind of random. Such great advice. Thanks, Olivia. I really appreciate that comment. It's thanks to you that I changed my allocation to mostly stocks about a year ago. It made a big difference. Oh, you're so welcome, Olivia. You know what? That's really lucky that you knew to do that. I don't know which video I said to do that in, but I'm glad you knew that from a year ago, because it makes a huge difference, a very huge difference. Oh, and you know what it is? When you do these robo-advising accounts, they ask you a little survey. When you open up the account for the first time, they say like, answer a couple of questions. And then they'll be like, I don't know what specific questions they ask, but they try to gauge like how risky you are or how risk averse you are. And if you answer the questions in a way that tells them that you're scared of risk, then they're going to recommend to you an allocation that is low in stocks and high in bonds, because the questions, the way you answer them shows them that you're scared of taking risks. So if they offer that to you, you can accept it, but then immediately swipe into your allocation and change it. You're the one in full control of your account. That's the great thing about robo-advising, is that they give you a suggested path to follow, but you don't have to stick with that. You could start there and then change it and tweak it. So just go into whatever account you have right now, check out your allocation, and make sure that your stocks are high if you're young. If you're close to retirement age, forget everything I just said. Make sure that your bonds are high and your stocks are low, because you want your money to be secure for when you're ready to retire in a few years. So only this is going for, you know, young people who are not close to retirement age at all. You want to have a high risk, so high stocks. Tagara says, could you do stocks and bonds? Oh, hey, Tagara. Tagara's one that sent me the email recently that says that her credit score went up a lot. Congratulations, girl. Can you do a stocks and bonds for dummies? Because I still don't understand. Oh yeah, there's a stocks and bonds for dummies, I think, on my page. Check out stocks versus bonds. What's the difference? I have a video about it, and if you're still confused about it, just write me an email and I'll explain more, because I think that video explains it in a pretty basic way. Gina, how does Betterment work? Do you choose each stock you buy, or did you do a mutual fund? I don't think they do mutual fund Betterment. Betterment does ETFs, so exchange traded funds, which I talked about before. I would have no idea what to buy. So, well, you don't really have to worry about what to buy. You don't have to choose anything individually. What you're going to do is you're going to answer those questions that I just talked about, that I referred to, and they're going to recommend to you a portfolio with an allocation. They're going to say, you're going to have 20% of your money in the international stock market. You're going to put 10% of your money in, you know, coal and natural resources. You know, you're going to put 50% of your money in, you know, a U.S. stock market. You're going to put 5% of your money in the international bonds. You're going to put 15% in U.S. bonds, right? They're going to mix it up for you in such a way that when you click on those specific categories, then you can see which specific ETFs they chose for you. So you can see what specific funds they picked to put your money in. And you can always, you know, they have a preset list so that you're not gonna be able to change it once they pick it for you. But if you wanna change the allocation, you can. You can put more risky or less risky, but you're not gonna be able to specifically say, oh, I want my money in Vanguard, or in the Vanguard ETF, or I want my money in this other, you know, account. You're not gonna be able to specifically choose, because they work specifically with preset lists. That's why it's so automated and so robotic. It makes it so easy, because as soon as you pick, you know, your risk tolerance, then they immediately prepare a portfolio for you based on that, based on your age, based on when you plan to retire, based on your risk, you know, tolerance. All that stuff kind of goes into this algorithm that types up. All of a sudden you have a formula that tells you exactly where your money's gonna go, and then you can tweak it by swiping up or swiping down. So yes, very high tech, very automatic, technologically savvy, and all that good stuff. Alba says, I just checked the Capital One app and it has CreditWise, which has Vantage. The JetBlue and Barclays app provides FICO. So yeah, if you have the JetBlue Barclays app, that's the one that I have. I use that to look at my FICO score. So if you have the CreditWise with Capital One, then sorry, Capital One does not give you the FICO. My bad, I thought it did. But the JetBlue one is the one that I use. That's why I knew one of my cards gave me the FICO score. I use the JetBlue one, which is the Barclay card, us.com, if you want to apply for it. Let's see. Have a good night. You guys have a good night too. I'm gonna wrap up in like 8 more minutes. So if you have any last minute questions, you can definitely put them up. Francesca says, hi, my husband and I are trying to get out of debt and raise our credit score. I'm a full-time student and mother of 2. Oh, my husband starts his new job Monday, feeling very overwhelmed. We need help. If you are overwhelmed by debt, I think you got to start with baby steps. A lot of people don't like Dave Ramsey, but I always say Total Money Makeover is actually pretty decent. It's a good way to start if you're feeling overwhelmed. So go check out my man Dave Ramsey. You know, he's a little old school, but to kind of total overhaul your situation and start from scratch and really start coming up with a plan that will allow you to have like a specific term in mind, that like by this day at this time we're going to be debt free if we stick to this plan. Definitely recommend doing Total Money Makeover. Or you can just, you know, stick to a budget, like create a budget and then start sticking to it every single month. But it's hard to know what exactly to prioritize in your budget. So Total Money Makeover is a really great book that has a lot of good strategies and techniques that you can use to start specifically planning in a way that you'll know what to prioritize and what not to prioritize instantly. But if you're using credit cards and stuff like that a lot, then the plan is going to eventually make you completely get rid of credit cards. So I would say, you know, take that with a grain of salt. You can pay off the credit card debt, but don't cut up the credit cards. He's a little crazy about that. You could do your debt-free screen and all that, but don't cut up the credit card. Credit card's actually gonna come in handy in the future when you know you wanna have some kind of established credit. So I don't think there's a need to really close the cards. Let's see. My inquiry still shows on Credit Karma 1 year and 2 months later. Well, I think it's going to show for 2 years, but it's not going to actually hurt your score after a year. So 12 months after the inquiry, it's no longer hurting. It's no longer pinging into your score, the actual number calculation. But it's going to stay showing on your credit report for up to 2 years. So that's why, that's a little new, what word am I looking for? The little bit of a difference between, you know, it's a nuanced, so the word I was looking for, the nuance between the 1 year and the 2 year is that the 1 year actually hurts your score. The 2 years doesn't hurt your score anymore, but it stays on your report for other lenders to see. Thank you for asking that. That was Gina, because I didn't really make that clear. Daisy Wasty says, I don't understand how people get into debt. Girl, it's normal. A lot of people take their credit card and go swiping, go buying stuff, or take loans. It happens, girl. It really does happen. I'm new to all this, LOL, but does that mean that people with debt have a really bad credit score or make too many payments on the card? Well, actually what it means, Daisy, is that they owe a lot of money right now. So that just means that they're choosing, for whatever reason, not to make payments towards their debt. That could be because they don't have money to pay it. It could be because they want to spend money in other ways, buying cars and going on vacations, or feeding their kids and buying clothes. I mean, people have lives. People have crazy, complex situations around them every single day, depending on their environment, depending on their family situation and their family structure. So, yeah, be a little bit more forgiving, girl. I don't understand how people get into debt. It's understandable how people get into debt, especially in this country where it's so easy to get into debt, because you can buy anything at any point with the tap of a finger, and next thing you might regret it. So it's definitely easy to pile on the debt, but essentially what it means is that there's an amount of money that they owe that they haven't paid off and that they aren't paying right now. Let's see. Nunia 83 says, there's a way to move money from a traditional IRA to a Roth IRA, but it takes time. Google mega backdoor Roth. Ooh, girl, that sounds like some black market information that I don't want to be privy to. Maybe it's amazing. I don't know about that, but mega backdoor Roth is like apparently some technique. I don't know what that is, so I'm just gonna put this out there for the record. I don't know what that is. Angel Robles says, can you call your credit company to know your due date, start, closing date? Yeah, absolutely. You can call them, or you can just look at your credit card statement. It should say it on every credit card statement. It says it on the top, your due date, your statement closing date, and your statement state opening date as well. Hi from Texas. Hi, Ulo Sophie Rodriguez. Oh my gosh, that sounds like Usnavi. That's giving me like ill Dominican vibes right now. If you're not Dominican, I'm sorry, but I feel like that's like a super Dominican name. What's your recommended credit score app? I mean, I have Credit Karma. You guys know that I like Credit Karma, but if you don't really like Credit Karma, check out Credit Sesame. What's her name? The budgetnista. Tiffany, I forgot her last name, but she recommends Credit Sesame. I don't use it. I don't have it, but I trust her, and I trust her judgment. So check them out. Use Credit Karma, or if it's to score. I totally agree, but my number one recommendation when people need to start with crazy amounts of debt, yeah, Nunia, I totally agree with you. I'm not crazy about him, but it's definitely a good way to go. Let's see, Bank of America, AmeriCard provides a FICO score. Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, you know what? I have them too, but I don't really use that card, because that was a card, I think, when I started. It was my student credit card, and then when I stopped being a student, it converted into Bank of America, AmeriCard, and so I do get the FICO score from them too, but I don't really use that app. Fernando says, do you think paying off a credit card every week is good or bad in the credit card company's eyes, or should I wait until closing day? You want to wait till closing day, because you know what it is, unless you have more than 10% that you owe, then pay before, so you could bring it down to 10%. And then after you get billed, then you pay the bill. Because what happens is too many people, they go in early and they log in and they pay it off, and it's just like you get billed for anything, right? You gotta wait to get a bill that says you actually owe something, so that there is actually some activity that they can be reported to the credit bureaus to show that you owed something and you paid it. But if you're constantly paying every week, and then when the bill comes and says you don't owe anything, then you're not going to have, any behavior to help you build credit. So you want to have something on there, even if it's just 10% or 8% or 2%, but you want to have something that they build you for, and then you want to pay it before the due date. Do you listen to financial podcasts? If so, what are your recommendations? Other one, your reaction to mega backdoor Roth, totally legit, just takes time. Okay, Nunya, I mean, I trust you, girl. If you're one of my followers and one of my subscribers, I love you for being here, but I just never heard of it. Podcasts that I listen to, I really like a lot of NPR money podcasts. Definitely, I mean, I don't really listen to like personal finance podcasts. I listen to more like general financial talks. I listen to the TED Talks podcast. I listen to the New York I used to do New York Times The Daily podcast, which isn't talking about money that much, but it gives me, current events. I listen to Freakonomics is a really great one. Death, Sex, and Money is a really good one. That's the one that I recommended on my Instagram not too long ago. They had a student loan crisis episode that was really, really good. It was like a series of like 2, I think, or 3 episodes. Definitely recommend you guys check that out. That was Sex, Death, and Money. And honestly, the Freakonomics podcast always has amazing content. I just love everything that they do. And a lot of times they really do look at behavioral economics and a lot of personal finance topics. So I definitely recommend them. Paris Gaffney says, thank you. Manuel says, is getting a new car a good way to build credit? It's not if you're looking to build credit, there's easier ways than getting a car. Think about not the investment, because not investment. Think about the amount of money that you will put down with this car. It's not just paying for the car. It's every future expense related to the car. Insurance, gas, maintenance. A car is not a one-time payment. It is constantly putting money into something to maintain it. So it's not an investment. It's not something that you put money in, it's going to give you more. It's going to be the kind of thing where you put money and it immediately depreciates. As soon as you drive that car off the lot, it's worth less than it was worth 5 minutes ago when you saw it for the first time. So you want to be careful with cars. I think if you live in a kind of city where you can get away with not having a car, then I definitely recommend getting away with not having the car. Bike or walk or whatever you can do to not use a car. Take the bus, whatever you got to do. I take the New York City subway every day. I take the bus and the train, swipe on my Metro card, and I'm proud of it. Yes, I'm almost 30 and I'm still on the bus and the train, but you know what? I'm saving a lot of money by not getting a car. And in New York City, a car is a luxury. And aside from all that, I still don't have my driver's license. I'm so embarrassed to say that. Let's see who else. Daisy says, I didn't mean it in a bad way at all. Literally just didn't know about getting into debt. Oh, okay, yeah, no. If you didn't mean it in a bad way, it's fine. I just think sometimes people think like, oh, debt is like such a bad thing. People don't know how to control their money. And it's like, okay, that's not necessarily the case. But yeah, I just think if you don't know how people get into debt, it just means that they were spending money and then they weren't paying it back right away. They were like, oh, I'll pay it later. Or, oh man, I don't have the money right now to buy this coat and I really need it, so I'm just going to put it on the credit card. And then eventually they don't pay it back for some reason and it ends up growing and growing. So yeah, people get into debt for a lot of different reasons. It just means that they took some money, borrowed from somebody, and didn't pay it back. Thanks for the answer. You're welcome, Daisy. Thanks for asking the question. All right, you guys, it is 9:30. I see like 3 more questions, so I'm gonna answer them real fast. Last question, going on a cruise in a couple months. What do you recommend on spending money out of the country? Stick to cash or no foreign transaction fee? I would say no foreign transaction fee credit card. And make sure that there's no other fees related to it at all, because what's going to happen is that when you go to pay for something, they're going to say like, oh, if you want to see the price in euros or if you want to see the price in dollars, just put the price in whatever the local currency is and download an app if you really need to see how many dollars it is, because when you click to see how much it is in US dollars, they charge for that, and you can just do it on your app for free. Okay, thank you for all your help and advice. Keep the videos coming. You're welcome, Fernando. Thank you for logging in tonight. Manuel, laugh myself, how come you don't got your license? Listen, I'm a New York City girl, born and bred. You don't get your license when you're from New York. You really don't, unless you're from Long Island, which I don't really consider that New York City, sorry y'all. But if you live in the 5 boroughs, if you live in the boroughs, you're taking the subway, you hopping on the bus, unless your parents got mad. If your parents have money, then all right, we're not on the same level, so you don't need to be watching my videos. You probably have so much money. So for me, it's just like, it's a matter of class. It's like, if you don't have money to have a car, it costs a lot of money to maintain it. And also, where you gonna park? Where you gonna park? In New York houses, you don't have, in apartments, you don't have a garage and stuff like that. That's luxury living. So yeah, I don't have a car because I just never really needed it. I never needed it. I went away to school and I ended up taking the bus every time, like the Greyhound bus, every time I needed to go and come. So thanks for all your videos. Smiley face, smiley face. Okay, guys, seems like this is wrapping up. So thank you so much for logging in tonight. I really appreciate all of the questions. If there's anything else that's lingering on your mind, you can always email it to me at MissBeHelpful@gmail.com. And that's all I have for you guys. Till next time. Peace.